So I'm just gonna warn you all, this episode is all about VIVI and we're already frustrated. So let's just get into it. So we start with Josiane trying to act like nothing's wrong and she's like, Agno, sell my mansion. And Agno's like, girl, those prices way too high, you need to cut it. And Josiane was not happy. She's like, but I have expensive furniture and art piece. And they're like, girl, nobody cares. And Tail was right there, so my dude ran to Mary Peace with the tea. And at first, Mary Peace's motherly instinct kicked in and she was like, oh, I hope she's okay. But her senses came through quick, because she was like, you know what? It's what she deserves. Back at the mansion, Josiane hears a knock, but Ellen doesn't answer as usual. This is honestly my favorite running joke. She really had to answer her own door. And it was none other than Mary Peace, ready to talk some sense into Josiane. And Josiane really tried to bluff. She was like, I am peachy, I am A-okay, I'm doing wonderful. And Mary Peace was like, girl, quit lying. I know you went broke. And Josiane changed her tune real quick. Girl, I'm embarrassed for you. But then her ungrateful ass really went in on Mary Peace. Like, she really tried to humiliate her, talking about you're nothing more than a pastelera. Like, girl, let me tell you something about Mary Peace. Mary Peace is an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman that did it not once, but twice. And Josiane swore she was fabulous. Like, girl, you had to freaking scam your own mom just to get all the cash that you have now. Miss me with this nonsense. And she still had the nerve to come at Mary Peace, talking about she doesn't know anything. And boy, did she trigger Mary Peace, because Mary Peace got up with the strength of 10 pit bulls from the Bronx. Like, she was mad. Josiane was like, you gonna whoop my ass again? And she honestly deserved it. And Mary Peace was like, you know what? No, I'm cool. I'm better than this nonsense. Like, you ain't worth it, girl. And Mary Peace was like, you still ain't learned your lesson. You haven't changed. She was like, girl, you deserve what's coming to you. And she was like, by the way, I already opened up another cake factory. And Josiane just stood there like cara de sapo. Like, she was extra pissed. And poor Ellen was there catching all the tea. Like, I miss seeing Mary Peace and Ellen together because they had such a wonderful relationship. Anyways, onto VIVI and Chicle. VIVI's like, Camilo is onto us, but we really shouldn't worry about it. And Chicle was like, yeah, if he found out anything about me, it would be a lot of trouble. And then we cut to Camilo walking into Spirito Santo. And then I don't know who these people are, but they were ready to spill the whole tea. Like, my dude recapped Camilo on the whole Ramirez versus Mateo blood feud. He really like summarized the whole plot. He gave us a quick recap of what happened with Cosme. Even Camilo was like, damn, like I'm thoroughly satisfied. Like, I got everything I need right here. Elsewhere, VIVI is having Kim call her dad's secretary. And honestly, this poor secretary is so underrated. Like, they treat her so bad. Like, girl deserves so much better. And VIVI really has the nerve to be like, oh my god, my dad's cheating on my mom again? How could that be? Like, girl, you dumb VIVI. Like, get out of my face. And Octavio just can't help but cheat. And VIVI barges in and catches them. And she was extra. Ooh, she really caught Octavio, like, completely blindsided. And she was like, how dare you? You lied to me and mom. Like, girl, you knew this is your father from day one. You literally are covering up for him. Why are you shocked now? And then their fight continued at home. They kept going at it. And VIVI really had the nerve to try to take the high ground. Like, she was like, how could you do this to my mom? You're cheating on your wife. Like, what's wrong? And Octavio clapped back. He was like, listen, VIVI, like, you're a trifling cheating hoe too. Like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so you need to sit down. And he was so right. And VIVI really had the nerve to do the Pikachu shock, like, oh, Dad, what do you mean? Like, girl, you know you were trifling. And Octavio was like, listen, while we're here telling truths, I don't like your boyfriend. I don't like your relationship. Your boyfriend trash. And I can't disagree with him. And then it was getting tense, and VIVI got all defensive, and she was like, well, you know what? Like, my boyfriend is my boyfriend, and I love him, and it's about love. You don't even love that person. And, I mean, she had a point. And then Octavio was like, fine, just give me a couple of days to, like, get my thoughts straight so I can, like, I guess not cheat anymore. And VIVI's dumbass fell for this stupid, like, every time, VIVI, every freaking time, she was like, fine, Dad, take as much. Like, no, he's just gonna keep cheating. You literally need to get this man out of your mom's life, VIVI. Like, I can't stand it. We take a break from VIVI to go to this other crazy bitch. She's there acting crazy, talking about, oh, we're spending too much. I think the freaking employees are stealing. I don't know, Fabiana, maybe your employees are tired of you freaking terrorizing them? And Marcio was like, listen, we have really honest people working for us. Like, literally no one's stealing, girl. So she forces Marcio to tell everybody that they have to be searched when they go in and out of the factory. And everyone's outraged, and understandably so. And Brittany's like, I'm quitting, but Abel actually runs after her. And Abel's like, please don't leave. You should just think about it first. And then he kept calling her like lady and girl. So I think he's starting to get it finally. Although I did not forget all the mean things he said about her. Elsewhere, Rocky's having lunch with Grandma Cornelia. And he's like, guess whose house just went on sale? And when he said it was Mary Peace's mansion, Grandma Cornelia's eyes lit up and she was like, say less. I want that mansion. And this is the first time I've seen her interact with Agno. And Agno was like, I'll get a fair price for you. And he ran to Josiane. So Mary Peace, Marlene, and Joana are just hanging out. And then Rocky walks in and sees Joana and he's like, And Joanna's like, what's his deal? And Mary Peace noticed right away that Rocky was mid. And tell me why she had no chill. She called him out right away. She was like, it's because he likes you. Like, Mary Peace, find a chill. And Rocky's like, damn, you don't have to call me out like that, but I mean, you're not lying. But he gets to business and he's like, by the way, Josiane is selling the man. And Mary Peace was like, you know what? Let's not mention her. It's not even worth our conversation. So Rocky and Joanna take off, and actually Rocky gets to he's like, listen, I really like you, and I want to date you. And Joanna was like, listen, I really like you too, but I have a lot of real life stuff that I need to get done first. And she was like, I have some real novella problems. And she basically left him on red. Continuing with the Chicle and Vivi mess, so Camilo goes to Vivi's house. And Grandma Linda's like, you best listen to him because this man is dangerous and he ain't playing around. And Camilo's like, listen, I know everything about Chicle's past. I know that he was hired to send you, and I know that he killed Cos. And Vivi was shook. She was like, damn it, you weren't supposed to know that. And then Camilo threatens Vivi with Cosme's murder, and he's like, listen, I can send y'all to jail. And Octavio barges in something that's not his business. Well, yeah, it actually is his business. Never mind. And he's like, no, Vivi did not have anything to do with this. Chicle was the one who killed Cosme. Basically confirming everything that Camilo already knew. Now he has another witness. Now he has even more dirt on Chicle. And Octavio's like, leave my daughter alone. Just go after Chicle because I don't like his ass either. And Vivi was supposed to go out with Chicle at night, but she lied to him and was like, sorry, I'm going out with some friends. Like, Vivi, why are you dressing up to go see Camilo? Vivi's really that saying antes muerta que sencilla because she really dressed up to go see Camilo and fight with him. And she was extra aggressive. She got right to the point. She was like, what do you want? Because I'm annoyed. And Camilo clapped back. He was like, I could send Chicle to jail if I wanted to. And Vivi was like, all right, what's your deal? What do you want? And tell me why Camilo's crazy ass was like, I want you to marry me. Like, Camilo, I don't like you. I don't like them. I don't like none of you. But you are in the wrong for this nonsense. And I guess Vivi basically got an offer that she couldn't refuse. Honestly, Vivi, if you wouldn't have lied about any of this, about Cosme's death in the first place, you literally would not have this problem. So this episode is all about Camilo's revenge, and finally Vivi came to her senses. Camilo really had his Villano moment. He was like, I don't just hate you for cheating on me. He was like, I hated you even before that. I hated you for being famous. I was jealous of all your fans. Like, Camilo crazy. And Vivi was like, yeah, I acted out of line because you humiliated me. You did that stuff at the wedding. You tried to sabotage my career and you failed. And Camilo clapped back. He reminded Vivi of the time when she was messy herself and when she went to the police station and basically humiliated him in front of everybody. Which, like, has always been my problem with Vivi. She never owned up to the cheating until now. Because Vivi for the first time was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I was very hurt and I acted wrong. And honestly, that's all I wanted from Vivi. To acknowledge that she shouldn't have done things that way. And that was my problem. That was my only problem with her. And she finally admitted it and apologized. But Camilo's beyond help right now because his ass went crazy and was like, I don't care. I just want you away from Chicle. And for the first time, I feel legit bad for Vivi. Like, Vivi was trifling. Vivi did make mistakes, but like, she already apologized and now he's doing too much. Like, he's legit terrorizing now and that's not okay. But Vivi was smart. She was like, okay, can I just have one day to think about what I'm going to do? Because I can't just leave everything. This seemed to work. Camilo was like, fine, you get one day. His crazy ass. So Vivi runs to Octavio and she basically fills him in on everything that happened. What I love about this show is that, like, all the characters are multidimensional. Yes, Octavio's a cheating piece of trash, but he's such a good father. He legit talked Vivi and he was like, we're gonna find a way to fix it. And he was even like, listen, you have to trust me. You have to get out of the country. And then I'll also find a way to help Chicle join you eventually. Like, he's a good dad. And then we're treated to this tender moment between Vivi and Octavio. Like, I'm starting to become Team Vivi after this. Whew. So taking a break from all the messes going on with Vivi, we have Lyris and Gael trying to sell Josiane's painting. And the art dealer's like, call 911 because this looks very stolen. And Gael and Lyris literally go from her living room to the police station. Like, they sold them out real quick. And then she called Agno to help. And then we get this really funny moment when Agno's legit flirting with Gael. And then Lyris is just embarrassed. Mary Peace and Amadeo are checking the new bakery. And Amadeo gets a call from Agno to help Lyris. And Amadeo's like, that's not stolen. That is literally my daughter's painting. And that's her cousin. And anyways, that thing is ugly, ew. So Amadeo isn't dumb. He returns painting to Josiane. And he's like, girl, you don't let nobody anything. So there is no way you just gave that to Gael just because. He was like, what does he know about you? Why is he blackmailing you? And Josiane's like, I ain't no snitch. I ain't gonna say nothing. But tell me why her broke ass had the nerve to ask Amadeo for money and be ungrateful. And Amadeo dumbass gave her money. I would have walked out that house like. Elsewhere, Vivi is going on with Octavio's plan, and she's running out of the country real quick. But Grandma Linda noticed that there's something sus about how much she's packed, and she meets Camilo right away, who's digging for info from her. And Grandma Linda's like, listen, I got nothing against Chicle, but I just honestly like you better. I'd rather she end up with you. And then she spills the tea. She's like, also, by the way, Vivi's getting ready to pack because she's going away. And Camilo's like, that bitch ain't supposed to be going anywhere. Vivi meets up with Kim and I can't explain to you what's going on, but I have to go to another country for literally strange reasons. And Kim's like, girl, I ain't stupid. You gotta tell me all the tea. Who you running away from? Vivi's like, fine, it was Camilo. He's threatening me. He's trying to break me up with Chicle. And Vivi's heartbroken because she doesn't want to say bye to Chicle and she doesn't want to keep lying to him either. And then they have this heartwarming moment where Kim consults Vivi. And honestly, I'm liking Vivi more and more. So we cut right to the chase where Vivi is telling Chicle that she has to go away. And Chicle isn't dumb. He's like, listen, there's something very strange about the way that you're leaving. And Vivi's like, you just have to trust me. And although Chicle isn't convinced about what's going on, he's like, listen, whatever's going on, I support you 100%. Like, they're really getting all the development today. Like, their relationship developed so much in this one single episode than it did in the entire novella. So then we cut to Vivi, who's ready to leave the country, and she's having one last talk with her dad before they leave. And Vivi finally came to her senses, and she had a very heart-to-heart talk with her father, and she was like, listen, I don't care what you choose, but she was like, whatever you do, please do not disrespect yourself or disrespect my mother by the way you're cheating on her. And she was like, if you don't want to be together, that's fine. Just do what is going to be respectful to the both of you. And this is the moment where I was like, finally, I stand Vivi again. Like, this mess really made her come to her senses. She even had Octavio crying. She really had the man reflecting, saying like, damn, I really want to be a better man after this. Then Vivi tries to say goodbye to Beatrice and she tries to play it off. But Beatrice is like, listen, you can't lie to me. I know you're running away. And Vivi's about to leave, but Camilo is already on. He's like, listen, Vivi, you can go to wherever you want, but the second you get into that airport, Chicle is going to jail. And Vivi is like, what is your problem? I don't want to be with you. You need to leave me alone. And then Camilo was like, fine, then you're all going to jail for lying. And poor Vivi had no option but to just play along with his stupidity. Taking another break from all the Vivi mess, we have Mary Peace meeting with Rocky. And I just love how happy Rocky makes Mary Peace. She's always smiling when she sees. And Rocky fills her in. He's like, by the way, Josiane bought the mansion, but should we continue her plan of letting her go broke? And Mary Peace was like, absolutely. That bitch needs to learn, and the only way she's gonna learn is by losing every single cent. Unless Amadeo dumbass wants to keep funding her lifestyle. And Mary Peace goes from sad to happy because Joana showed up. And this is such a cute scene because literally the two people that make Mary Peace so happy were together. And Mary Peace tries to be matchmaker, and she's like, you should let Rocky walk you. And Rocky tries to make a move on Joana, and he invites her to the next boxing match. And here's what I'm fearing, though. I'm fearing that crazy-ass Fabiana is going to be there, and she's going to meet Joana, and she's going to hate her. Continuing with the drama, Camilo and Vivi are back inside talking, and Camilo just lost his marbles. He's going off. And poor Vivi's like, listen, you have to be rational. Like, we don't love each other anymore. It's done and over. The relationship would not be the same, especially if you forced it. Like, poor Vivi is really trying to talk some sense into this crazy man, but it's too little too late. Because Camilo's like, I don't care. You're gonna leave Chicle and return with me no matter what, and we're gonna get married. Like, his ass is crazy. And Camilo was honestly getting on my nerves because he was straight up harassing Vivi. And he, like, I just can't stand him right now. But Vivi was smart because she did the one-day trick again. She really learned that trick from her dad, and she was like, give me 1 day to get my thoughts. And Camilo was like, one, you get 1 day. So now that Vivi bought herself some time, she tries to find a way to kind of get herself out of the situation, and she asks Kim for help. And Kim was like, I can't believe you didn't consult me first. And honestly, I agree. Because Kim's crazy ass would have found the perfect way to get her out of there. Like, let's face it, Kim is good at all this nonsense. And she was like, don't worry, I'll find a way to sneak you out. And I believe her. Out in the living room, Beatrice wants to know what's going on and why Camilo is being so crazy. And Octavio starts fessing up. He's like, fine, I'll tell you. He was like, Chicle was the one who killed Costa. And poor Beatrice was not ready for that tea. And lastly, Camilo goes and pays Fabiana a visit. And Fabiana trying to act special. She's like, Camilo, you can't boss me around now that I'm rich. Like, these villanos really trying to flex on each other. Because he was like, girl, if I started looking into where that money came from, I bet I would find something. And Fabiana shut up real quick because she knows that if Camilo looked into where that money came from, he would find something. And Camilo crazy ass like, I need you to help me with VIVI. And Fabiana can't refuse the offer. These villanos too much. So we start this episode with the villanos continuing to team up. Fabiana dumbass is like, I'll help you, Camilo, just don't look into the origins of where my money came from. Like, girl, why would you make it so obvious? And Camilo's like, I'm glad you're on the same page as I am. I need you to talk to Vivi so that we can convince her to marry me. And Fabiana's like, I'll do whatever you want as long as you don't investigate me. And Fabiana couldn't help but hate on Vivi. She was like, you know what? She's going to try to do whatever she can to get away from you. She was like, you might as well check land because she's probably going to run for the border next. And even Camilo was like, wow, you really don't like her, do you? Like, over at Vivi's house, poor Vivi is panicking. She's filling in Octavio about what happened and how they're going to, like, try to go all the way next. And now Kim is involved, and they start plotting a plan to get Vivi out of the country by land. And Vivi starts coming up with the plan with Octavio. And Octavio has been such a good dad. He was like, trust me, I'll get you out of the country, and then I'll get Chicle out next. Chicle goes to see Vivi, and Vivi tries to tell him what's going on without really telling him what's going on. And she's like, yeah, you just have to trust me. We'll be together soon. You just can't ask questions. And Chicle's like, there's something really strange here that you're not telling me. And she was like, don't ask any questions. When my dad decides to take you on a trip, just go with him, which is like such a strange request. And Chicle is like, all right, normally I would just shoot a dude, but if that's how you want to make things happen, then I guess. Over at Agnor's corporation, they're closing the deal on the mansion, and Grandma Cornelia ain't having none of Josiane's trash. She was like, girl, you better get out that mansion because it's mine. And Josiane is extra mad that Cornelia is bossing her around. She was like, all right, give me some time to get out of the house. And Cornelia was like, no, girl, I gave you 1 day to move out, and then after that, I'm gonna charge you rent. Like, you know what? I'm glad she's getting this energy back because that's the energy she gave Mary Peace. Like, this is literally how fast she kicked out Mary Peace, and I'm glad she's getting all of it back. And then Grandma Cornelia just felt like dragging her. And she was like, girl, I know who you are. I know what type of trash you are. You stole from your own mom and you ain't gonna steal from me. Josiane had no other option but to just sit there and take it. This girl is getting all the karma she deserved. Over at the studio, Vivi starts to enact her plan to get away, and they pretend to go on a normal run. And of course, Camilo's psycho ass is spying on them. So they're pretending everything's normal, and then Vivi's like, all right, I have to. And Vivi gives Sylvia a heartfelt goodbye, and she's like, I hope you grow as an influencer. I fully support your career. And Sylvia's like, there's something really strange going on here. And then Kim starts to get emotional. And then Kim's like, all right, Vivi's trying to flee. Just act normal. Don't act. And poor Kim can't help the tears. So Vivi runs away. She meets with Octavio, who will get him to the driver. But Camilo catches them right away. And he was extra mad. He was like, bitch, you're really gonna try to run away? Chicle goes to jail. Octavio was like, chill, bro. Like, I'm gonna report you. And then Vivi and Camilo went at it. And he was like, listen, you better go back home because there's somebody waiting for you. So Vivi gets back home. And then there's Fabiana lying ass, talking about, Camilo's gonna force me to testify against Chicle, so you can't run away. And Kim's day just got worse. She's like, come on, man, like don't do it. And then Fabiana snake ass really tried to pull some, I'm a good person. I can never lie. And Vivi called her ass out. She was like, bitch, you lie about everything. So miss me with this nonsense. And Fabiana was mad for a moment. She was like, how can you say that? I'm your sister, blah, blah. And man, poor Vivi just did not have the mental capacity for any of this nonsense. So she just gave in. And Fabiana just was so bitter about this. And you see what she does next. So immediately after that, Kim goes to see Vivi. And Kim is like, listen, girl, like, we have already tried everything. It's clear that this guy is a psycho and he's not going to give up. She was like, maybe your best option is to just marry the dude. And it wasn't the answer what Vivi wanted to hear, but at this point, like, it's the most reasonable answer given that the dude's a psycho. Taking a break from the Vivi mess, Mano Santa and Agno are having pizza. Everyone in the show always having pizza. And Agno's like, Mano Santa, I want you to go and live with me again. And Mano Santa was happy. My dude getting his hopes up. But Agno put two conditions. Well, the second one shocked me. He was like, first of all, you gotta get rid of a plot gun. And then second of all, you have to go to church and confess all your sins and repent for everything that you've done. And Mano Santa was like, yes, absolutely. And honestly, that little tidbit about Agno really surprised me because he didn't strike me as a religious type. So the next day, Mano Santa quickly packs all his stuff and Chicle just gets to the point. He's like, listen, I find it really weird that some random older dude is just going to want to pay for all your living stuff and your rent. He was like, that's extra weird. And Mano Santa was like, fine, I'll just tell you the truth. I like him, but he doesn't like me back. What do you think about that? And then Chicle was like, maybe in the past I might have been close-minded, but love has changed me. So he was like, you go do whatever's going to make you happy. Chicle was like, you're like a brother to me, like we both were raised together, so I just want whatever's good for you. And then they had this cute, adorable moment. Like a lot of Chicle's development is shown through his interactions with Mano Santa. So the first thing that Mano Santa does when he gets to Agno's apartment is he gives him the plot gun. And Agno's like, I'm not touching that, just put it away here. And anytime a gun is stored away, it becomes a plot gun. So we know that gun's going to be used at some point. But can we talk about how Mano Santa just collected the bag? He really just became a stay-at-home husband. Like, I can't. Like, he really did that. Yo, Regis popped out of nowhere talking about he has the paternity test results. And honestly, I kind of forgot all about Regis because we haven't seen him in a while. And then he meets up with his son again. And it turns out that Regis is the father. And Regis was actually happy. Like, I keep forgetting that Regis is a completely changed man. He was like, I'm going to be the best father I can be. And I really look forward to see where Regis is going after this now that he's a changed man. So Vivi runs and talks to Fabiana about some crazy ass plan. She's like, all right, I'm going to sneak you out of the country for an indefinite amount of time until I figure out what to do with Camilo. And Fabiana's like, yeah, that plan is crazy, girl. And honestly, I'm never team Fabiana, but Vivi was kind of doing the most with this plan. Like, girl, that is crazy unreasonable. And Vivi freaked out on her. She was like, oh my God, you never helped me. And Fabiana dumbass spills the tea. She was like, listen, Camilo's threatening me with my fortune. He's trying to look into my fortune. So she really basically confirmed what Vivi already knew about freaking her fortune being shady. And Vivi rightfully so got pissed. She was like, you don't even like me. You don't even care about me. Like, you never support me. And Vivi runs off and Fabiana's just fed up with her. So she runs to Camilo to tell him everything. And Camilo's just like, wow, you really don't like her at all, do you? And at this point, Fabiana basically confirms her deal with Camilo. She's like, you don't look into my fortune and I will help. And Camilo's like, deal. He was like, we're going to get Vivi to marry me. And he was like, besides, I have a dude who's always watching Chicle. But he really thought Chicle was dumb because Chicle spotted the dude. And the thug in Chicle jumped out because he went right in and pulled out the Glock. And he was like, oh, I see you've been spying on me. What you want? What's good? Vivi meets up with Camilo to fight once again. And Vivi tries to talk some sense into Camilo. She was like, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't love you and who doesn't want to be with you? Like, you can't force it. And his craziness was like, I don't care. Are you going to marry me or not? And Vivi's like, yes, I agree to marry you, but I'm going to have some conditions. And honestly, Camilo was shook. And this is going to get even crazier from. So we start this episode with Camilo and Vivi arguing about the terms of their new marriage. And of course, Camilo's like, you have to get away from Chicle. And Vivi's like, I saw that coming, but I'm still being an influencer. And Camilo's like, I hate the internet, but fine. And poor Vivi, she tried to buy herself some time, but Camilo was like, no, we're going to get married immediately. We're going to have this wedding like tomorrow. Elsewhere, the thug jumped out in Chicle. He was like, why are you following me for? And he scared the dude good because Camilo's spies took off and told him right away that he wasn't dealing with it. Now for some old lady mess. These Ramirez women are snakes. So Donatello shows up with a big bouquet talking about, I'm gonna ask someone to marry me. And everyone's like, Grandmama Evelina, why you dressed up? This ain't even your party. So poor Marlene thinking it's gonna be her. She thought, oh, Donatello finally remembered me. He's gonna ask me again. And Donatello went right for Grandmama Evelina. Poor Marlene was left like this. It's basically this meme right here. Mary Peace is the real one though, because she went right to Grandma Evelina and was like, what in nonsense is going on? And Grandmama Evelina really had the nerve to be fake and be like, I don't know how this happened. Well, Mary Peace was the real one, and she told Donatello, you are not marrying this woman. And Marlene was like, you snake, you stole my man, how dare you? And poor Mary Peace had to get between them both. Like, honestly, I'm with Marlene on this one because Grandma Evelina is snake. Over at the mansion, so Cornelia finally moved in and Josiane is handing her the key. But poor Ellen is crying because she's basically out of a job. But thankfully, Cornelia hired her right away. I love Ellen, and I'm wondering when she's gonna get back to meet Mary Peace again. And I love the energy that Grandma Cornelia is handing Josiane. She was like, why is a hater ass still in my house? She basically kicked her out. And Josiane had to go to this tiny little apartment. And Josiane was big mad about how tiny the apartment was. But she was like, you know what? I'm gonna focus on rebuilding my wealth. Like, Josiane, you're not gonna get anything. So over at the studio, Josiane finally pays Kim, and even Kim threw major shade. She was like, girl, I thought you went broke for a moment because you haven't been paying me for a while. So they're getting ready, and then Sylvia talks about how she got a sponsorship. And when Josiane hears this, she just breaks out like a crazy psycho. And Kim is like, girl, it ain't my fault that you ain't charismatic and that your followers are fake. Like, miss me with that nonsense. And Josiane has a breakdown. She starts like throwing stuff, and it's just like, wow, you crazy. She was like, I pay all this money, and I don't get any deals. And it's just like, Josiane, it's because nobody likes you. Let me catch my breath because we have this VIVI and Chicle mess. So VIVI goes and breaks up with Chicle, and she's like, oh, I just got over you. And Chicle's like, wait, are you serious? And Vivi's like, yeah, I just get over stuff really quickly like that. And man, I know that Chicle isn't the brightest tool in the shed, but like, Chicle, come on. Did you really believe that this girl would willingly be part of a murder cover-up for you just because she was bored? Like, if that's not love, then I don't know what it is. Anyways, he bought it like a dummy, and then she took off, and I really felt really bad for her. And I felt worse for him because he actually believed everything that VIVI told him, even though, like, it made no sense whatsoever. So back to Josiane, who just does not get it. She goes to Agno for yet another investment. And Agno hooks him up with another shady dealer, and he's like, listen, you could double your money at the very least. And this girl just doesn't learn. She was like, double my money? Sign me up. Give me that cash. Over at Vivi's house, Vivi is telling Kim how difficult it was to just break up with Chicle. But she was like, it's for the best until they figure out what to do with Camilo. And then Kimberly got home and started telling Marcio the tea. I guess the couple that she smashed together stays together. On the other side of the coin, Vivi is talking to Mano Santa, who can't see here, but he's there, about. And then Mano Santa gets home and tells Agno the tea about Vivi and Chicle breaking up. Y'all be gossiping in this show. And then Agno's like, what if we had some sexy time? And Mano Santa's like, wait a minute, don't you like Rocky? And Agno's like, yeah, but you know, we could just do stuff. And it's like, you're nasty ass. And ladies, this is where I need y'all to take notes because Mano Santa respected himself. He was like, listen, I ain't nobody's boy toy. I ain't nobody's one night stand. I respect myself. And then he just left him hot and bothered. But I love this. I love that Mano Santa knew his worth and he wasn't just about to hook up with him just because he liked him. Y'all take note from Mano Santa. Respect yourself. Now that Donatello kinda has his memory back, Mary Peace and Amadeo went and visited. Unfortunately, Donatello still did not remember anything about the plot documents. I guess he only had one copy, which is currently sitting in Beatrice's place. Back at Vivi's house, Camilo shows up all of a sudden and everyone's sketched out. Camilo basically forces her to accept the engagement ring. He's like, accept this ring or there will be consequences. He's too much. And everyone was like, that was super weird. But in this last scene, Camilo just crosses to level 10 Villano territory because he's waiting for somebody and we know it's Chicle. And it was Chicle, he's just walking around. So he starts driving after him and I'm like, no, he is not gonna run him over. He can't be this stupid. And we just see Camilo driving top speed towards him. And then this happens. Yo, Camilo crazy ass really ran him over. And with the final scene is we're just left with Chicle on the floor unconscious. We know he's alive, but damn, Camilo crazy ass, he went at it. He went into crime mode now. Like, he's done.